you too. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. 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 In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Say, I recognize God in you.
I recognize God in you.
Feel the love and the unity.
Feel the love and the unity.
Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together.
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 In the name of love. We come together.
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 In the name of love. Everyone's life. Every creed and color. And kids should be nice. In honor of God and each other. Take a look at the person next to you.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Say namaste, I bow to you.
Namaste, I bow to you.
Feel the love and the unity.
Feel the love and the unity.
Lift your voice, repeat after me. Come together.
We 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 come together.
In the name of love. We come together.
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 In the name of love. In the name of love. Woo!
Good morning. Guten Morgen.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Or as John Oliver might say, welcome, welcome, welcome. Back in the old days, he used to say that. So my name is Reverend Michael McMorrow. I am the spiritual director here at the Center for Spiritual Living, where we are blessed to have Mr. Jamie Lula here joining us. Yay! And, of course, the lovely Reverend Nancy Woods. Yay! And I'll let Ken introduce the rest of the crew today. Ooh, with a whole new look. I'll let you check that out later. All right. So let's just start by taking a deep, conscious breath. And release. And in that release, we're allowing ourselves to surrender to this eternal now moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Nancy lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. The second candle we light for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The 7th candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the 8th candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The 9th candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center, in our online community, and in our hearts. And so as Reverend Nancy lights the healing candle, remembering those suffering through this pandemic business and suffering of any kind, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own soul. There is one flame, one light within.
And that light within is a light of love. And as we recognize it and acknowledge its presence, we acknowledge that there is a divine presence in this universe that is expressing in and through all of us. It is all-knowing, all-powerful, and loving, experiencing life through each and every individual, in each and every aspect of life. In this awareness and in this understanding, we have come together in this hour to not only experience each other's presence of the divine, but to open our hearts and our minds that we may be able to expand our experience of this presence. And as we know that this divine, creative energy of life itself is flowing into expression through each and every aspect of this service in this hour, we know that it comes forth through the songs, through the message, through each and every aspect to give us a greater and more expanded experience of knowing the creative power of that divine presence. And as we step into this awareness, we step into experiencing the blessings of being. And as we know this and understand that this is who and what we are, we can relax into knowing life is flowing with ease and grace. And as we accept the fruits that have been fed to us, we can rejoice in the juicy awareness of understanding and appreciate life itself. For all of this and the experience of just being in each other's company, we say thank you. And it's with this heart that is so filled with love and appreciation of this experience and this moment and this opportunity. That we accept that we have been blessed together. And we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is.
So it is.
And I'm standing here thinking, I think I used to use that microphone as a crutch. Because I'm thinking I want it there. So this morning, I wanted to share with you once again about it's an experience. It's a spiritual experience to go through what we are going through. It's a spiritual awakening, and there are on the spiritual path that sometimes come dark moments when we may feel like, oh God, can I do this much longer? But one of the things that we know that once we become aware of the spiritual presence that is within us, that no matter what that moment looks like or what that moment seems to be, there is that light that we can always accept, that is always present, that is always given to us by giving through us. And as I experienced that this week, I found that there were moments when I really kind of gave in and said, oh God, I don't want to go through this any longer. But then it was like I was watching myself do that because I realized that each time that occurred, it was kind of like a tap on the shoulder to re-up my spiritual energy and reassure it. But the thing that is interesting is that I am able to understand and appreciate that today it's all right to be who and what I am, no matter which way I am experiencing life. And when I was thinking about that, I was thinking that each and every person that is going through this, each and every individual that is living a life in this time and in this energy is going through something that is actually a kind of a tap on the shoulder about life and expressing it. Because I really feel like when I think about this is done for us, that always there is that moment in which we experience that step of leveling out, and then something taps us on the shoulder and tells us to go a step further and a step higher. I experienced a lot of phone calls this week, and I realized that a lot of those phone calls it was my opportunity to share my spiritual understanding of life. And in doing that with the others, I found that was such a blessing with me. It didn't give me time. I mean, I took away from that time I was going to sit there and think about this not being such a good thing. Because it was a busy week in which I was able to understand that Spirit gives us many opportunities and many ways in which we can reconnect with it. And most of the time, the most dynamic and powerful way in which it does that is when it offers us an opportunity to be of service to somebody else. And when we reach out for another soul and be of service to another being, we are, and we can come from that spiritual center. It is a blessing not only to the person that you are reaching to lift up, but it's a blessing to ourselves. It was interesting because 2 or 3 of the people that called me were actually practitioners. And we had a good time. I mean, we started off with one state of consciousness. By the end of the phone call, we were kind of flowing on a nice little high because we kind of began to share this understanding and awareness and the shift that we have all been able to experience by being in this transitional energy of the pandemic and the environment and all the other things that are going on. So what I'm sharing this because I feel like I want to feel like I can encourage people, encourage others to utilize this, because this can be a good thing as well as a heavy thing. This can be a shifting thing as well as a weighing thing. It is so we can shift our thinking, shift our life, shift our experience of being to a higher level. And we know that we can go to that place in awareness in which we can say yes to life in a greater, stronger, and more powerful way. And thank you for letting me share that idea.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you there at home. All right. Please welcome Mr. Jason Goldstein on the keys today. All right, Jason.
Thank you, guys.
And Mike is running the video, and Evan's running the sound. All right, thank you, guys. We are very pleased today to have the one and only Mr. Jamie Lula.
Woohoo! Thank you all. So good to be here,
Yeah.
celebrating with you. Great musicians, and the lovely and talented Reverend Dr. Mike McMorrow. You just call it. I'm giving you the doctorate. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. 2, 3, 4. I wish you peace. I wish you joy. I wish you love, 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 love. I wish you faith in yourself to reveal all that you've come here to be. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. I wish you strength. I wish you courage. Wish you love, 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 love. I wish you purpose to create all your dreams and co-conspire with the light of your life. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Oh, 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 oh.
Wow.
Awesome.
Nice note.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that. That was that's my religion.
I can't even exhale that long, let alone sing that long.
Whew, that's beautiful, just beautiful. Thank you all. Huh. You definitely have beautiful music here. Oh, so if you would say our declaration of principles with me. We believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal too and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe our faith operates upon a law of mind which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life, the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
Very nice. Thank you for that, Ken. And thank you, Jamie Lula. Yeah, nice job. Nice job, band. Yeah. Amazing what you guys do in such a short amount of time. Yeah, good job. So, let me get all my accoutrements together. I bet you didn't know I knew some French, huh? All right, so this month's theme, of course, is inclusion in action. And so we're wrapping up. This is the 5th Sunday in August, and we are wrapping up this month of August through this study of inclusion in action. Except before I get into that, I would like to thank everyone for the many cards and birthday greetings that I received. It was the when you get older, losing your hair, many years from now, birthday. And so I was kind of having a hard time with that. I never thought I'd actually get to be 64, but here I am. And so I appreciate the lift that I got from the cards and the Facebook posts and the good wishes and so forth. And my book is finally out, Blue Collar Spirituality, Finding a God That Works. I will be shamelessly promoting that for the next. It's actually, believe it or not, it's the #1 release in the Christian ecumenism category, which is pretty wild because there's Jesus in there, but you got to go looking for it. All right, so let's get back to business for today, though, inclusion and action. So we've had this study that we've been doing for this entire month, starting on August 2nd, where our talk title was Let's Get Together and Feel All Right. And the idea throughout this whole month is really how to build beloved community and to make sure that everyone is included. So we talked about let's get together and feel all right and be all right. And then we asked, who are we? And we just kind of defined as a community and as people who we are. And then we asked ourselves the next week, are we color blind or colorful? And so we talked about how languaging about being color blind, even though it can be have good intentions attached to it, it's not particularly helpful. And last week, Reverend Nancy covered for me about how we are better together. And that's what I like about having Reverend Nancy as an assistant minister, because we are definitely better together. Because I know she helps to make me a better minister and a human being. And so I appreciate that. So here, our talk title today then is We Are. So as we wrap up this series, this week is an opportunity for proclaiming a statement of community, that faith that affirms identity, diversity, and the beloved mosaic of identity. So here we are this 5th Sunday, and we are looking at We Are, which even after all we have spoken to around this idea of inclusion and action this month, today's talk title, We Are, I think still kind of begs the question, we are what? So isn't it amazing how adding punctuation changes the whole direction of a statement or a sentence? It can either lead us to another connected idea, another connected thought, or it can end abruptly, or it can simply leave a fact hanging loosely, or present a complete thought. So consider with the question mark, with the question, we are? What if that, instead of a question mark, it was followed by a period? We are. As in, we are. We exist, therefore, we are. Or maybe, we are without punctuation becomes a proclamation. So it's certainly not a complete idea, I don't think, without needing a bit more explanation. Because I think what is important here is for us to look at we are, that there can be no we are without first an I am. There can be no we are without first an I am. So that I am from Exodus, the Hebrew scripture, Exodus, the tetragram Yahweh. I am that I am. And I love how I've always loved, even as a kid, it was kind of confusing, right? It's an ambiguous idea. What do you mean, I am that I am? Right? I mean, isn't that like a Popeye thing? Right? So, but, and speaking with this idea of God, I've thought, as I've gotten older, what a wonderfully ambiguous name or idea. And because even though it's kind of vague and obscure it is still inviting us to define it or to stretch it out more. And it still has a sense of truth in it, doesn't it? I am that I am. Well, it's kind of a nebulous thought that somehow feels true. This definition then has room to breathe in it, particularly to breathe in faith, to breathe our faith in it. So I also found this, which I thought was interesting, which is the English translation within Judaism that they're favoring these days. That is, I will be what I will be, which is another interesting wrinkle on it. So I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just reporting because I don't read Hebrew. Now, the teacher, Ernest Holmes, encourages the New Thought student to do the same thing, to breathe even deeper, giving the student many names of the divine to consider. So we speak about this a lot in January, right? To really expand our vocabulary and by extension, what we think this idea of God is. And so there's many names up here. These are very metaphysical. Some of them are very religious, sciencey, and some are everyday things that we may use. But, and this is not a new idea, of course. Right? So Thomas Aquinas long ago said, we either see God in everything or we don't see God at all. We see God in everything or we don't see God at all. Now, I understand this word God is a loaded question. You know, God is just a German derivative of a Greek word, of another idea going through antiquity. So pick a name. Don't get caught up on that. Right? The main thing is that we remain open to I am that I am. However we want to marinate in that. And we should get tremendous benefit starting our day in just this one simple consideration. If we started our day, right, that we either see God in everything or we don't see God at all. How can we see God, right, within the first awakenings of every day? Now, for those who are interested in using a power for good to affect change in our life, you know, this really becomes essential because, as Ernest Holmes wrote, whatever the nature of any principle may be, insofar as it is understood by anyone, it may be understood by all who take time to investigate. So it's available to everyone. And he goes on to say that this does not require an unusual degree of intelligence, but rather a practical application of what we now know in order that we may increase our knowledge. So you don't need a degree in quantum physics to understand more of the divine. In fact, it might even get in the way, right? So you might be better off studying poetry. You might be better off as an English major. Who knows? Or you might be better off as a working guy or now gal, just going about your business in any day, finding God wherever you cast your gaze. Holmes goes on to say universal intelligence individualizes itself in and through each of us as co-creators with the infinite. So that this science of mind and spirit teaching is a deeply spiritual and practical teaching empowering humanity to rediscover its divinity by practicing the simple, powerful principle of life. As we court the presence and direct the law, limited beliefs are transformed into expansive possibilities. as we court the presence and direct the law, limited beliefs are transformed into expansive possibilities. Now, this, I think, is a wonderful thing to know, and it's an even greater thing to realize in our life, to demonstrate the infinite power and presence of the divine in, through, and as our life. The effect or demonstration of this power is the natural and logical outcome of the conscious use of thought coupled with an infinite power behind it. And it's bound only by our faith and belief in it. That's it. Now, if this is true, if this is what happens with our conscious use of thought, what about our unconscious thoughts? What about those? So in 2005, the National Science Foundation published an article summarizing research on human thoughts per day. This is not news. It was found the average person has between 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. Now, I thought about that. I'm like, well, what about the guy who's only having 12,000 thoughts? Right? Where are they falling on the spectrum? And then I thought, maybe those are the monks, right? So the folks with the calm mentality don't have the tempest, the mental tempest going on. I don't know, just a little aside to think about. So I found that the average person has 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. The important thing to know is that of those thousands of thoughts, 80% were negative, and 95% were exactly the same repetitive thoughts as the day before. Now that is an interesting notion. Actually, it's an interesting fact, right? Unless we have a mental practice such as meditation or some other contemplative practice where we are creating space. So they've actually kind of whittled this down to about 29,000 thoughts, because it turns out that we have about one thought for every 3-second segment, right? But the idea is that we're having the same thoughts that we've always thought. That we have thought, what we want to do is open our minds up so that 5% continues to grow. This is the expansive possibilities part that Holmes was talking about earlier. So, 3 seconds per thought. And if you've been a meditator, you're aware of that. That's not news to you, right? And sometimes it even feels like more than that, depending on the day and if you've had a second cup of coffee. So consider how this notion plays out in our own lives, in our one single lifetime, each one of us as individuals. How does this idea of the stream of thought play out? Now consider how this plays out in your family of origin in this generation. Now think about how it plays out and has played out in your family of origin over generations, multi-generations, over the centuries. All of the opportunities realized or squandered. Traumas, real trauma of wars and strife, both physical wars and psychological strife. This is an aspect of what we call race consciousness, the stuff that we are constantly thinking into mind. We do this individually, and we do this collectively. So to the extent that we have our individualized consciousness is focused on the divine, and we become willing to heal past trauma, regardless of where it has come from, heal our own unconscious stuff, we realize and demonstrate this power and presence far more effectively because the obstacle for its demonstration, which is almost always our own receptivity to it, of we don't deserve it or we're not enough, that this dissolves and we become more receptive. Now, imagine how this plays out in the collective. There's all this stuff, all this unconscious thought being thought into mind, the human race consciousness. That this is, and the way that we see this demonstrating is in the outer world. This life, this human life that we co-create together. So that the way that we think affects the Amazonian in the Amazon, in an indigenous tribe. And the way that an African let's say in an indigenous situation in Africa affects the way we experience life. That we're all joined together in this field of mind. So there is an aspect then of this race consciousness, our collective race consciousness, that is also intergenerational. An intergenerational collective race consciousness. Now, with the eye of the observer, consider the way race consciousness has played itself out within your family, from one generation to the other. Right? So that might mean white bodies throughout the centuries inflicting so much trauma on each other through wars, centuries and centuries. I mean, Europe was just a war place, man. So much trauma visited upon the other. That this trauma is really what drove people to the New World, to get away from that stuff. Right? But then they brought it with them, didn't they? And this intergenerational trauma has become so generalized and accepted that we can become blind to it. And I would say for men, particularly so. You know, there's no crying in baseball. Right? Most of the people who start the wars are who? Men. Most of the people who inflict violence are, right? Even our games, our video games. You see what I'm saying? This trauma has become so generalized that we're not even attuned to it anymore unless we really work at being so. So, what's all this got to do with anything? We're seeing a lot of stuff going on out there in the outer world. And as we, as awakened people, and those who are practicing and studying the power of awareness to shift and change our life experience and the world of conditions, and we have proved to ourselves that we can do that in our individual life, now must step up to the responsibility of creating those thought forms that can heal this intergenerational race consciousness that's going on out there. Which is a full-time job because we can't bite the hook on stuff that we're seeing that supports stuff that we already believe that just gets us more angry, which just defines the other, creates more separation, and there's no healing that happens in separation. There's just the reinforcement of groups. So there is a universal subconscious mind that we are unconsciously thinking in together that has this intergenerational effect. So through our collective unconscious race thought, we've created all kinds of stuff together. We've co-created it. We've co-created financial systems, schools, laws, militaries, internet, neighborhoods, both physical and now virtual. These thought forms demonstrate the tendency of generational thought forms throughout time. So for instance, there was a time here in the San Fernando Valley where people of color could not buy homes here in certain neighborhoods all around here. Granada Hills, Northridge, all over the place. Right? Until the fair banking legislation came in the late 60s. Right? And didn't really go into practice until the 70s. Now today, we know that to discriminate in this way is wrong, and none of us would do this kind of thing consciously. And yet, the hangover from that is still making itself known today in our little area, right? In our little localized consciousness that we are thinking into and we have inherited, I suppose. It's still making itself known. We've co-created this, we co-created this whole thing where there was soft money available in the 2000s. And with our NIMBY ideas of not in our backyard, housing has been driven higher and higher and higher. Not only just here, but on the coast. So we know this. I'm just pointing out that it's, the market is us. It's consciousness. Whether we are consciously participating or unconsciously. Now, this is not to speak to blame or any of that, just to observe. So we look around in the outer world and we see great need that needs to be addressed out there. And we may have strong differences of opinion on how to address that and what's to be done about it. And still at the same time, it's clear that something must be done. So the question then becomes, is the I am that I say, I profess and align with, is that making itself known in my life? Is the I am, the I will be what I will be, making itself known and demonstrating itself obviously in my life? Now, I would suspect that for many of you, this would be a strong yes. And now again, with the eye of the observer again, is the I am that you know to be demonstrating itself in your life individually, do you see that demonstrating in the outer world? Is it demonstrating itself out there? Well, that's a mixed bag, isn't it? In the areas where we do not see Spirit expressing, where we do not see Spirit demonstrating, that's where our work is. That's where the work is. And so if you're getting bit by the hook, if you're feeling it, if you're feeling any kind of energy about what's going on out there, then brothers and sisters, we got work to do in here. Right here is where it starts. We have to know a new way of not only seeing the world, but a new way of being in the world and a way of calling others to action. And this can be done in ways that are as simple as joining the PTA or supporting teachers as they try and navigate this crazy thing, or supporting the parents who are now becoming tutors to their kids locked at home. Right? There's no escape for any of us. The time is now. Now, because now this is now a life of returning to our baptism, right? Our baptism in consciousness, where we came to ourselves to see that there is a power for good in the universe available to everyone. And my life has been changed by it. And I want everyone to know the freedom and the release and the creativity and the prosperity and the overflow that comes with that. That Holmes says this spirit operates through law, which is some part of its own nature. Therefore, all action must be some action of spirit as law. The word of spirit sets its purpose in motion through the law, and since the law must be as infinite as the Spirit, we could not think of a time when it was not, or a time when it would cease to be. Neither can we imagine the law ever failing to operate that which is set in motion. So Isaiah said centuries ago, thousands of years ago, fear not. So this is the word of the Lord spoken through Isaiah. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you. I have called you by name, that you are mine, that you are my witness, says the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe me and understand that I am. So to proclaim who we are, we can start right now and right here this morning. So let's bring the musicians up while I go through this. So I suppose the easiest way to say this, of course, is that we are a faith community. I don't know if you're going to be able to read this, but I'll read it to you. That we are a faith community that explores the nature of thought and our relation to that thought and to the self-originating thinker itself. A faith community that believes in the power of thought coupled with a faith in a power back of all things. The self-originating thinker that demonstrates the thing it thinks about by becoming the thing it thinks about, including you and including me. That we, the Center for Spiritual Living here in Granada Hills, we are a community that celebrates diversity, that fosters inclusion, that champions the inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. That Granada Hills is a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies, advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. That we are a community that blesses each other, sees holiness in all of life, that we remain learners and listeners so that we can grow together and understand that oneness is not the same as sameness. And we, the Center for Spiritual Living of Granada Hills, know that the beloved community is revealed when we love each other well. And so it is.
Love is but a song we sing. Fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring, make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some may come and some may go. We surely pass. When the one that left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunlight fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. Listen. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Right now, right now, right now.
That was amazing, you guys. Nice job. You think you've been playing together for years. Amazing. So thank you for that. Let's give it up for Jamie Lula.
Yeah.
And the band. Yeah. They play, they vocalize, they work with new singers.
Yes.
Yes.
Do a
All
little
right.
landscaping too.
And even do landscaping. Maybe you don't want to know that. Your phone will be ringing this week. All right, so let's just take a moment to talk about how you can support the center this morning by going online and looking at these slides. There's a donate button right here on our Facebook page. If you hit that, it'll take you to this portal. This is our PayPal portal. If you have a PayPal card or kind of account, you know what to do with that. Otherwise, you can make a one-time donation using your debit or credit card and be as generous as you dare to be, and you'll get my full thank you. And then if you got a phone, you just scroll until you get to this part here. So CSLGH will get you to the website. Again, you go to the donate button, takes you to the PayPal page. Super easy, right? And then if you're on the YouTube channel, the PayPal button is here, and you can access it the same thing, same way. And just know I'm up here clowning, but I'm very grateful for your continued support for our center as we move through this crazy This is a crazy pandemic. Somebody needs to write a song about that. All right. And then on our Facebook page, you can hit donate as well. So isn't Mike great to put all this together for us? And you can continue to mail in your donations. The easiest way, of course, is to use bill pay with your online banking, which I presume pretty much everybody is doing now, even late adapters like me. So many ways to give. The other thing that I wanted to say is that there is a new author in town. You may not know who it is. Oh, I keep trying to push this, but it just keeps trying to make itself known. But anyway, so the book's online on Amazon right now. It's only $10 if you have Prime. There's no shipping. And if you're local here and you want to drop it off, and I can sign it for you too. All right. So if you want me to. So this is a book that's kind of written towards men. So if you know some guy who needs a little nudge spiritually, this would be a nice little primer. It's designed to make them more curious about what it is that we do here. So let's call Reverend Nancy up to pray us out. Thank you for joining us today. I am now going to stop.
Money
What?
offering?
Oh,
That would be a first.
yeah, we don't want to forget that. Sorry, Ken's going to take us into the offering song.
3, 4.
It's okay.
Spirit gives from me, Spirit receives from me, Spirit lives and breathes from me. Spirit lives and breathes from me. Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us. Spirit lives and breathes through us. Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us. Spirit lives and breathes through us.
Okay, so going with him for just a moment longer, recognizing and knowing that the gifts presented here this morning through the week, as witnessed by the gifts here in our basket here today, that all of it, whether through online giving, however it gets here, that all of it is a demonstration of consciousness that knows and knows that it knows that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so through the generous heart of the individual, we receive these gifts. We, representing the heart of this spiritual community, accept these gifts with deep respect and love, as we know together they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless the vision and mission of this center, this online service, and this online community. That we extend this blessing to our friends here in our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, for our planet as well, that we know that all of it in some kind of crazy cosmic way is an emanation from the mind of the Spirit itself. And to the extent that we know this to be so, we see it demonstrating in ways great and small. This lifts our hearts. We feel a sense of power and grace that propel us into ways of spiritual living and spiritual loving that not only raise ourselves, but those around us, and that's a good thing. And so, we just release that knowing that it's already so, and so it is. Again, thank you, Jamie. It's been great having you here. A lot different being in person with some people around, right? Yeah, it's great having you here. And, of course, Ken and Jason, thank you. Thanks for the guys in the back, and pray us out, Rev.
So it is with the consciousness of knowing that I am. Through a loving religion, we can step into the awareness that we are. So as I recognize that this service was one in which we invited each and every person to realize and understand that we are all in this together. We are in life together in every way and every form. And it is through the loving energy of life we can find this to be a uplifting and blessed experience. And knowing that we are in this energy of appreciation, we can say thank you for taking your time and energy to invite us into your home. Thank you for being aware that the spirit of life is given to us by giving through us. Thank you for being able to understand and appreciate that the time that we are spending together, being more aware and being more appreciative of the divine energy of life itself, each and every one of us are blessed. So it is with this consciousness and this awareness, we say that we go forth to know and to understand that we are the manifestation of the divine in everything we say, do, or be. And this is our truth. And together we acknowledge it by saying, so it is.
Please join us in singing the peace song. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. God as the power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let this begin with me. Let this be the moment now. Every step I take, let this be my joyous vow.